Let's
Great to
shift our
see you.
expectations on what's possible.
Or what you can do in the first 5 seconds of a live.
Yeah. All right. So we've already turned off half of our customers. It's fine. So you asked me to come up with a topic. This one has been sitting in reserve for a few weeks.
It has.
For various reasons. However, it's still relevant, at least from my perspective. It all comes down to all the things on my list, right? And I have had this, bathroom renovation is on the list. It got started. I got guns ablazing there for like a couple of weeks, got some really good bones kind of issues taken care of. And then I've run into a couple of mental brick
Hurdles?
walls.
Okay.
Mental brick walls more than physical ones.
Okay.
And so I was plodding along okay, and then like I hit some of those things, and now I know they need a resolution. And we talked a little bit about them last week or 2 weeks ago, I think. So I'm taking steps to resolve those. So when I first started out this project, I had the expectation on myself that this is something that I could get done in, give or take 6 months, right? With other things going on, and I know other things are happening. But I'm realizing I have to shift my expectations, because not only there's not just that thing, there's all the other things that are always coming up at this time of year, and I didn't really factor them in, even though I'm pretty sure I should have. There's gardening, there's planting, there's yard maintenance, there's cleanup, there's the gym, moving the gym over from the basement to the outdoors. There's a lot.
Oh, because of course it's warming up in your side of the world. It's cooling down here, but yes, okay, yeah,
it's
just
heating up because
clarifying.
we're into our spring, and it just finally started heating up the last couple of days. So so I hadn't really planned well for the other things that are the normal things that have to happen. And I've also had a couple of things pop up lately that are unforeseen, and they really throw a monkey wrench in. And in this case, it's not necessarily a physical thing, but more like mental energy. So my dad was in hospital again this past week for several days. He's now back home, so yay. But there's still some significant issues with him that need to be resolved, and doctors are scratching their heads. Anyways, I spent a lot of mental energy this past week or so just on that. And you can't plan for those kinds of things.
No, you can't.
And if you saw the image that I put up as the kind of the thumbnail for today, like that's kind of how I feel. Like you're up on top of the surface, everything's fine-ish. You got your plan, you're on your walk, and then the earth starts shaking beneath you. And you can't plan for those things necessarily. So I'm having to shift my expectations around what is possible. And what I'm trying to do, and maybe you can help me get here, is not worry about necessarily getting done the project or the projects in a certain timetable that is an unrealistic version from myself, but more just plodding along and checking things off the list. Not necessarily having to complete any one of them at any time, but just keep chipping away at them, because there's always something new. We had a leaky faucet took a few weeks ago. It took me a couple of weeks to find the right parts and get them, order them, and install them. That stuff's not part of the plan.
Yeah, which reminds me about where our expectations have had to shift. I say our because I'm including my husband in this, because it's such a joint effort. We've kicked off our renovations because we do have a bit of a goal. We'd like to get half the kitchen done before July, and then we'll do the other half after July. That's the plan.
Right.
But this is to help maybe answer the question that you were asking. So I'm just going to share a little bit of the backstory of the kitchen. I mean, we've painted some walls.
Is this a renovation show? Is this what we do now? We could open up like an HGTV TV, whatever show where we talk about the things that don't get done or do get done on your side.
Sort of. So we'd purchased the kitchen. It's all IKEA, which is amazing because it's a lot cheaper than any other way of having a kitchen, and it helps that Renz is very handy, so he's going to build the cabinets. I'll be a great assistant, but he's the builder. Totally. So we had everything delivered, and then 3 days later, I walked back into the house, and I'd only been out here for 30 minutes, luckily, because sometimes I'm out here for a couple of hours. But I was out in this room, which means I'm nowhere near the house. And I go back in the house 30 minutes later, and there is water all over the tiles. So we had a flood. And short version of that is, apart from a lot of soaking towels and trying to work out where it came from and all of that happens, the water had seeped through to the cardboard boxes where all the IKEA
I had a feeling this is where this was headed.
Items were sitting.
And particle board does not work well. It's like a sponge.
Correct. So good part of that is that IKEA actually packages their stuff really well. So the water soaked into the cardboard, not the actual benches or the cabinets. So that was great. But it changed the expectations of that day, because it took Renz and I an hour and a half in the morning, like on a Monday or a Tuesday morning, because, this is what we wanted to be doing on a Tuesday morning at 9:30 in the morning, moving all of these boxes, like 50 of them, and unpacking them and checking for water damage, and then making sure they're all labeled properly, because now they're all a mess because they're not in the order that they were when they were very nicely
stacked and
leaned up, and which one we're going to pick up first and which drawer we're building, and all of that completely gone. So now we have a shambles. So the water's fine. Renz then had to spend an extra day doing all of the plumbing side of that, along with the extra trips to Bunnings to pick up the bits. Oh, I didn't get the right bit. Now I've got to go back and get the other bit. And for the first 2 weeks of our leading into July of our half of the side of our kitchen renovation, I had very diligently planned out the painting for the first 2 weekends. Well, then we got plumbing added into that. And what I did, this was my resolve this time, to not get caught up with doing that overachieving on the expectations, is that I have a full list of everything that needs to be achieved, but I'm only planning it 2 weeks out. So I planned the painting, and then literally tomorrow, because it's Friday here, but so Saturday, I will be looking at the list and going, so what can we achieve this weekend and for the next weekend, so that we're kind of only 1 week out of the plan, which means that the shock value of, I don't know, plumbing emergencies disrupt us, and we go, well, that's not going to happen now. Instead of getting all like, oh, we're just not on track now, we're not on time, we haven't got the things done in the right amount it's just like, well, I don't know what we're doing this weekend. I think we've got a little bit more painting to do. Great. So it's kind of like just planning it more immediately rather than too far ahead is really helping to lower my standards, I guess, of expectation.
Expectations of you or Renz or the project?
Achieving. Yeah.
I like the idea of knocking it down, and you're saying 2 weeks out, and I'm thinking, I think I want to do it like a weekend at a time, because I really only have a pretty finite amount of time from when my work week is over to the time that I have to do things like this. So yeah, I think it's going to have to be by week
and I guess we can go a little bit further, because we don't have kids at home to add to the mix of what else might happen, right? We can be fairly controlled with the two of us, because we can kind of manage that. And I say control, not loosely. I'm deliberately doing that. It's like, no, you don't get to do that now. We're focusing over here.
Yeah. Steer them back
and
in the right direction for you.
For me, yeah, correct. But when you've got more bodies in a house and you're doing renos, you've got more variables.
Yeah.
So
Yes.
the shorter the plan, I think the better.
Yeah, I don't know where I come up with my version of what I think is possible, and I think I'm relatively reasonable. Whereas, like if I ever hear my brother say, "Oh yeah, that should be easy," like, couldn't we do
Get
this
it done in a day?
Yeah, in a weekend or whatever. I'm like, you're trying to like redo your whole house. Like this is not a weekend job. So yeah, I think I'm reasonable, but I'm still way off. And it's because I don't factor in I think the way that I envision most of these projects is, if I was to bury my head and just do the work, I could do that. But then there's no anything else.
Yeah, it doesn't factor in life. It doesn't factor in, I don't know, needing a rest, food, like, break times, all those sorts of things.
All of it. I have another kind of tangent on this as well, a different story. So I every year at about this time, at like mid to late May, I do a specific workout. It's called Murph. It's like a memorial kind of workout for a one particular person. So it's a 1 mile run, a 100 pull-ups, 200 push-ups, 300 air squats, and a 1 mile run with a 20-pound vest.
Okay, now I'm exhausted.
Excellent.
Yeah,
and anyways, it's hard. And anyways, I've done this several times in various iterations over the past, I don't know, 10 years. So every year I want to try to beat my time, and that's kind of like my goal. It's like a personal thing that I like.
Personal best.
Yeah.
Thing that you can do. Yep.
Yeah. And last year I had my best time. I was all like proud of it or whatever. And I'm like, okay, now this year, I can do it. I can beat that. But things are shifting and changing in me.
I was going to say, are you factoring in the fact that it's another year on?
The thing is, I'm still able to kind of do it, and I can push myself. And when I have a time, I'm better because I have like a goal. And as the time gets lower, it's harder to do. And as I get older, it gets harder also. Anyways, this year, Avery came up to me and says, "Oh yeah, I want to do it with you." Because like, I guess it came up in his class and whatever. And they were offered an opportunity and they could do it if they wanted to. And he asked me, "Hey Dad, can we do it together?" And I'm like, "Nah, I do this every year by myself. I do it like as it's prescribed." Yeah. No, I turned him flat out right away, turned him down. But I've got some other issues going on. Like my knees are not happy with me. I've got one knee I saw a doctor about a month ago to have it checked out. And I thought it was the surgically repaired knee. It is not the surgically repaired knee, but it seemed it's gotten better on its own. This week, the last couple of days, the surgically repaired knee has been very angry, and I don't know why. And I'm like, okay, so maybe maybe I'm getting a few signs here that maybe I need to like back off a little bit. And you know what? Maybe if I shift my expectation around how I do this, you know what? This could be fun. I could do it with my son. It could be like a bonding experience. I get to back off a little bit for me, even though I still want to do it. Maybe I will. Maybe I'll do it on a different weekend just for myself. But that weekend can be dedicated to doing one with him.
And maybe letting your body not be so tortured.
Yeah. So it's shifting the expectation on what I need for myself. It's also shifting the expectation of what does it have to mean? It doesn't have to mean anything. I've made it mean this thing that I want to beat every year, but that doesn't have to be the thing.
That was what I could hear. The meaning changes about why we do something.
Exactly. So me shifting my expectation on not just myself, but what does this mean and why am I doing it? And could it have a different meaning than I've made it mean this time? And why not? Why not? So I've since floated the idea past Avery, since he asked me last week and I said no flat out. Now I'm like, hey, dude, you want to do it? Let's do it together. We'll have fun. Yeah. So I think we'll do it now. And it'll be a little easier on me. It's already going to be plenty hard enough as it is, and it'll be hard on him too.
Yeah, does he know what he's in for?
No, but if
The
we split,
enthusiasm might carry him.
no, it'll be fine because we'll split up the reps, and he'll do what he can do, and I'll do what I can do, and it'll be fine. It'll be fine. Whatever it is, it doesn't matter. I've made it to be this big thing that it doesn't have to be.
Yeah, because it's actually not life defining.
What? This doesn't define me?
I know. I'm sorry to shock you with that.
Everything.
But this is the
I've made
thing.
everything define me. But anyways,
we do. We put so much. I go back to the word meaning. We put that meaning on it, and its significance is another word I could use there about what that has to be, and how important it is to us. And it doesn't always ring true.
And things can change. They don't have to be the same all the time. I am going through a different season of my life. As much as I do not want to let it be, I've been holding on to this now for a while, thinking that, I can keep doing this forever. And maybe I can't do it the way that I was, but I can do versions of it. And maybe just not as frequently as I had done it in the past.
And admittedly, I'm only a few years older than you, but I'm a little bit further down along the age.
Are you going down the hill?
No.
You're going up the hill, now you're going down the hill?
What I think it is that there's a widening of what you let into your life. So I've noticed that there's a change in even how I interact with people, and what I choose to invite in is different to 5 years ago. And the reason that I go to the gym even from 3 years ago is different today. There's an ability to still go and know that it's important as a female in perimenopause that a bit of strength, continued to encouraging strength in my body is a good thing. That's a very different reason to why I started going 3 years ago.
Yeah.
And I just let more come in rather than beating myself up on, oh, that's not the reason I started it, but this is the reason I'm continuing to do it. So I find the older I get, the more the wider perspective I have, the inviting different things in happens. Also, admittedly, the care factor changes. So
meaning
I may not care about things like I used to, but I think that's all the same conversation, right?
Yeah,
I don't care if somebody.
It comes back to your why.
Yes. So if somebody says something, I go, where I used to care, I don't care anymore. I just go, sure, whatever. You can have your opinion. Off you go. My life will continue. Where previously I have had a history of taking things personally when somebody maybe doesn't like what I did, or gets upset, or doesn't like how I emotionally portrayed something, or whatever. I would go, oh, now I have to change, and what is it that I have to do different? And as much as there's a level of responsibility there, it's also a lot more, I don't care anymore. It is what it is. That's the best I could do right then. No excuses, no apologies, just is. And so, yeah, the care factor changes is what I'm finding the older I get.
So it's a different title for shifting expectations is care factor?
Maybe. Well, I think care factor is what we have to pay attention to when expectations shift. So maybe we just need to question whether we're caring in the right, like, are we caring, is that thing still worth caring about? Go back to you and Avery asking you, so now you've changed the care factor about actually time with Avery to do this with him would be actually what you would care more about
Yeah,
than a
because it's
personal
not
best.
it's not about me in that moment.
Yeah.
At least in the version that I'm thinking about.
But I'm not sure we immediately go to the care factor. In your story, absolutely, you didn't. You immediately went, no, I want to maintain my thing that I've always
I'm
done.
holding on for dear life.
Hold on. And then maybe, like a little bit of time goes past and then you go, oh, actually, what if I change that? And so I think the care factor is what ultimately shifts.
Yeah, and I think what kind of led to that for me is we've been butting heads a little bit lately about anything, everything. So having a shared moment, goal, something to do, I think would be a good thing for us.
I believe that's called a bonding experience.
I did mention that the funny thing is he has mentioned that before in the past. About like playing catch in the backyard or something with a football or a baseball or something. He's like, but Dad, it's our bonding time. So
he's looking for it.
Yes, he has been asking for it, and I find I say no more than I would like to because of the things to do, right? So
yeah.
this
and then it goes back to the other thing you want to be doing, which is the reno side of it.
Yes.
And how do you balance all of that in?
Right. And if I include him in some of that stuff, it's going to take longer also. And he does have interest there too. So I'm going to have to be able to let timelines go for the opportunity to do things in a different way that have the different why.
Yes. And I'm setting up my plan because I do like a plan so that the variable.
Well, I like plans too, but I like having the plan B and C also.
Well, the plan for us to get the fridge side of the kitchen sorted. It's distinguished by fridge side, sink side. That's it. That's how we talk about it. I mean, it's not going to matter if it takes us longer. No one's going to care. It's Renz and I living in the house. Whatever. I mean, sure, there might be some inconvenience, but we'll manage that in the moment. There might be takeout for a week. Whatever. We'll live with it. There's worse things in life. So those expectations of what we're going to achieve before July, I don't know. We might get the fridge side sorted. Let's see. But I don't have a date of now that the final piece of cabinetry will be installed on this date. I don't know when that's going to be. So I've taken the specific end date off the table.
Yeah. Cool.
And then what shifts feels less earthquake related.
Yeah. And there will be other unforeseens. They're going to happen. So at least understanding that if you're doing things step by step and you have zero control over those things that you can't see.
And life does that, right? Life throws interesting curveballs that you just go, wow, I could not have predicted that was going to enter my world today.
And I think there's benefit in those things too. A lot of times I find the curveball that comes in is part of the learning experience also. So like the knees not doing what they're supposed to do anymore has opened me up to a different possibility because I'm open to it. And not like I want these things to happen, but they are. So how can I make the best of that situation and maybe look at this a little different?
Yes. And I think that I think at the end of the day, you mentioned earlier about how the mental thing can come in. And I don't think in most of the stories that both you and I have been talking about, it's a real physical thing. But that mental load, the emotional load, that change that comes in unexpectedly, that can impact us more than we give it credit for too.
Well, I know, because I've had the reverse happen. So did I mention this last time that that the hurdles that I have to overcome that are most of them are in my head, to go to the city
and you found people
resolved.
to help.
Yeah, I
carry
now
that load.
have somebody I know I can lean on, and that mental relief of I'm not thinking about it in the same kind of weighty way that I was before. That seems to have elevated, lifted off of me, and now I'm able to like focus and do some of the things, even though nothing big is happening externally. Internally, it's lighter.
Yes, and that makes a world of difference to not just the thing you're trying to achieve, the renos, but it's also then in conversations that you're having, and I'm going to say enjoying work, but getting through work with more ease, getting through whatever family things have to happen, like all of those things then become lighter.
Yeah.
Because that mental load is not there. So yeah, that it's important. I think we need to pay attention to the expectations in all areas. So in physical, mental, and emotional. And what is, for me, emotional is always I'm going to call it my weak point. It's not weakness. It's just the thing that if it's something I need to pay attention to, it's going to show up emotionally every single time. And I have to give myself grace. I have to allow myself to, if that emotional intensity kicks in, I just can't achieve that much as I thought on that day. I just need to let it be okay.
But you're human. That's the part of the human experience, right? Is feeling that emotion.
Yeah.
So let it in, let it out.
Move on to it. Move it as quickly as possible and get back into things. That's my approach.
That's probably why you get stuck there a little bit more than you'd like.
Maybe.
All right. Final word of wisdom.
Be willing when expectations shift to look at how much you need to care about the thing you'd focused on and the thing you'd decided was most important. And is it the most important thing?
I can't say it any better.